Here is your African true story. Africa-wide, sexual abuse endemic in the international humanitarian aid sector. Sexual abuse and exploitation of some of the world's most vulnerable people by humanitarian workers is endemic, according to a recent report by Human Rights Watch. Sexual violence, exploitation, and abuse against women and girls is endemic in many developing countries, including Africa, where there are cases of conflicts and forced displacements. Forms of systematic criminal sexual exploitation, for example, in the form of human trafficking into prostitution, is also a common feature of such environments. Many aid and relief agencies have policies and programs aimed at tackling all these challenges. Therefore, it is particularly horrifying to find evidence of personnel from the aid and security sector perpetrating these abuses rather than combating them. Reports have regularly shown this kind of sexual exploitation and abuse being perpetrated across different countries, organizations, and institutions, principally in humanitarian crises. At its core, sexual exploitation and abuse is an abuse of power, and the power imbalance is predominantly, although not exclusively, men abusing women and girls. Due to confirmed underreporting, the exact scale is currently impossible to define, but practitioners suspect that these cases which have come to light are only the tip of the iceberg. The lack of information must not be a cause of inaction. In addition to the abuse of aid beneficiaries, there is also evidence of significant number of cases of sexual harassment and abuse within aid organizations, including where the resulting proceedings have been conducted very poorly. There seems to be a common thread in this apparent inability of the aid sector to deal well with allegations, complaints, and cases involving sexual abuse. Also, there seems to be a strong tendency for victims and whistleblowers, rather than perpetrators, to end up feeling penalized. Unfortunately, the aid sector collectively has been aware of sexual exploitation for years, but the attention that it has given to the problem has not matched the challenge. Reportedly, reports of sexual exploitation and abuse by aid workers and/or peacekeepers have emerged, but the sector has reacted, but later the focus has faded and been forgotten. This episodic response has led to the existence of safeguarding policies and procedures that have never been effectively implemented, meaning where worthwhile safeguarding measures have been developed, they have never been adequately funded. A reactive, cyclic approach driven by concern for reputational management has not and will never bring about meaningful change. The sector's movement on preventing sexual exploitation and abuse in the past few years has been welcome, but it has also been long overdue. It is yet to be reassured that the momentum will be maintained, and this aid and international humanitarian agencies need proper engagement in looking after victims and survivors, equipping aid beneficiaries with more knowledge and confidence about their rights, pursuing perpetrators, and preventing sexual exploitation and abuse. Victims and survivors should also demonstrably be front and center of all efforts to tackle sexual exploitation and abuse, and this means the inclusion of victims and survivor voices. A failure to listen and consider the needs of victims and survivors of sexual exploitation and abuse will bring a response that is not only ineffective but potentially harmful. Improving reporting of sexual exploitation and abuse is vital to understanding the problem, responding to it, and ultimately to preventing it. Aid organizations and donors must consider this as an absolute priority. The vulnerability of the victims and survivors of sexual abuse and the power of the abuser create multiple interlocking barriers to reporting. The lack of clear best practice guidelines on how to handle reports of sexual exploitation and abuse once they have been received, both in terms of conducting an investigation and referring potential crimes to relevant authorities, leave organizations ill-equipped and victims and survivors at risks. The globalized and often chaotic nature of aid work presents challenges to robust employment screening. Indeed, this is likely to be a factor making relief aid in particular an attractive sector for people wishing to exploit others. A global register of aid workers will act as a barrier to sexual predators seeking to enter the international aid profession. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, follow, share, and like our video. It's the best way of supporting us. And remember, Africa is watching.